I personally have been the target, big target on my back for the so-called liberal stands we take. We know what you're talking about.
But
we don't. You're preaching to the choir.
I'm not challenging you.
But
I'm giving you a report on what I've seen and what people's feelings are, and they cry out for some remedy. The most pained people have a different timetable.
All right, they do have a different timetable. And those voiceless and the powerless, the pained people, need to tell their story. And they are, and that's part of what's happening now. And this is good.
Yes, ma'am.
The timetable, however, is not in my hands, and the timetable is not in your hands. So how then does the clamor for quick rest in the reality that it could take the state police months to complete the investigation?
Well, there are two timetables. There's the month's timetable, and there's the timetable of the alienated. And I'm trying to walk that line between those who have had their fill of police altercations and the people, and months. And months is not the timetable that's going to work for redirecting Rockford towards some remedy, where people feel that they are being heard and not being delayed. That's my appeal to you. The months timetable is not going to work on the west side. Now must not be seen as some threat. It's an assessment of what we're looking at.
Agreed. That's why we said this last week.
It is scary. That's why when I went in there Sunday, I went over and over again, I talked about, I'm sure you have the report, nonviolent discipline, and redirect our passions, and set some goals, targets, and timetables for the library, for school truancy, for fair number of jobs in police department. I try to set some timetable and some agenda to redirect some of the anguish. And that's kind of where we are. And that's what we meet with leadership today on that agenda.
Who are your Rockford confidants? Who do you talk to when you want to know what's going on in Rockford? You mentioned Marshall. Who else is there?
Don't bring Marshall up. When I was a freshman football player 2 centuries ago.
We were all much younger back then.
In Illinois. And Marshall was our star football player, So we all looked up to Marshall, which was a mistake, but we did. We
in some ways, you're right.
We come back and forth to Rockford. Well, Marshall was with classmates. But there's Reverend Brown, Reverend Sense, a number of ministers in town, the elected officials, and Miss Duckett, and a number of people that we've just known across the years. Dr. Sheffield, interesting enough, her father was a great labor leader, Horace Sheffield, with the United Auto Workers. So I've known her family for a long time, so I was anxious to remake that connection. But we talked with them, and then, of course, we met Sister Pam and her husband, and I wanted to have a broad cross-section of white and black ministers to come together so as to try to make this a moral issue, not just a racial one, where white people are for police and black people for the guy who got shot. I tried to take it above just that analysis, that there are some white people who believe that this is a grave injustice, and some, of course, who think that Marcus must have done something wrong. It's almost like what happened in the Rodney King case. Some white people, some people saw.
There are blacks who say the same thing.
Well, it's all right.
Right, and that's so.
Well, I think if ethically, if you're black or white, our position as police should not go in the church uninvited. Whatever side white, black is on. That they should not go in the church with guns out in the toddler's room. Not right. We believe that restraint does not require such a shooting as we saw. Now, there's some other people think it's differently. We share that point of view. And my history of watching these episodes is that I just think that his life could have been saved.
It's possible. Absolutely possible. And I hope that you're right.
And what makes this tender is that there's, for many people, this is a pattern
Right?
of behavior. It's not justice. I mean, you must appreciate, since you do live here, I don't know the representation you have of blacks in your makeup of your writers and your editors.
Well, believe it or not, we match the minority population in the market, so.
I don't know who you are. All I'm saying, there is almost a protracted alienation. I want us to close that gap. I find no solace in the people's complaints about closing our library, or their complaints about.
How do you, okay, I hear the library, but how do you, help me here. That is the least used library in the branch system, okay? I agree, if it were well used, and they didn't, and the district, the library district didn't have financial problems, the last thing in the world you do is close the library. Good God, we got to have people be able to read, or otherwise we don't have a job. So we're kind of partial to libraries. But should the library should the leaders of the library keep Lewis Lemon open even though it's technically losing money?
You know, I
And
can't.
close something else?
I can't answer the question, except it is a symbol
It is.
around which people are rallying. That's why.
Precisely.
That's why I've heard so many times. And sometimes symbols, all some people have is symbols, but they go immediately from symbols to their relationship with police. And look, we want it to be a good relationship. Right now, it's not a good one. The same is true with firemen. The same is true with paramedics. I mean, we want these relationships to. The same is true with judges. We want, because we think that equality matters, and we have here fundamental inequality of representation in the hiring and professional services of the city. And is there a plan to close that gap? Is there a plan?
Well, I think that the mayor has gotten himself in a lot of trouble with the professional education establishment by calling for closing the truancy gap, and being the first mayor to say that education is the key to more people being able to do things like pass the test to become police and firefighters. So he's taken a lot of heat from people. You know, if you saw our editorial this morning, he's quoted as saying he wants to end the warrior culture in the police department. That warrior culture comes directly from the head of the police union. They'd like his head down there. So I think there's a lot of stuff going on that perhaps you're not aware of, but moving in the direction that you suggest.
I mean, this is late in the evening for that request. It's a good request, but
It's not late in the evening, Reverend Jackson. This mayor has been pushing that agenda for almost 10 years. First as a private citizen, and then as the mayor. So it's not like he woke up this morning and said,
when departments
Whoa.
of police and firemen get federal funds, there are civil rights laws, there's contract compliance. That's not in compliance here, and should be. And the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, it's not I have a personal thing with the mayor. I'm not going to get in. I thought we had a good meeting. He was very affable and congenial. We were trying to think this thing through. Why did I want to meet with him, the police chief? So no one can say we came in and we were disrespectful of him. We wanted to meet with him to hear what he had to say and try to help him work through some stuff. On the truancy question, we have to share the agenda.
right.
I got a plan. We're trying to get several thousand parents. I gave you a report today to take if we could get like 4,000 parents to do a 7-point pledge of that you will support it.
Right.
If we could get several thousand parents to, one, take your child to school. Don't send, take. Meet your child's teachers. Teachers teach children differently when they know the parents. And they behave differently when they know each other. Exchange home numbers. Turn off a TV 3 hours a night. Pick up a report card every 9 weeks. Take your child to church, shelter, synagogue once a week, and read your child an hour each night. We're all about that.